Hello there, welcome back to my channel. Today we have another problem solving video, and today's problem is so annoying. If you ever have this happen, you're trying to apply foundation and you cannot get it to stick to your nose or maybe the chin, or you get it on there, everything looks great, and an hour later it's like melted off your nose and your chin and you're going, what is going on? I have received through the course of several years a lot of questions about this topic from many of you, and so I've watched a bunch of videos on different techniques to prevent this from happening, to keep your makeup in place. And let me tell you, I've seen some really interesting things, including the use of hairspray on your face. And I thought, okay, I don't think we want to go quite that far. So we've dialed it back. I'm going to give you some practical things to do to help keep your makeup in place and to help it stick. Now, as I go through these tips, I will say I don't feel like I can personally do this every day. I feel like this is something that I'm going to do for more of a special occasion, or if I'm just in a particular season where I'm really struggling with it, because you are layering several things on your nose, and that can start becoming problematic over time with clogged pores, that kind of thing. So I would just say proceed with caution. Maybe don't do this technique every single day, but I would definitely encourage you, if you have struggled, give this a try and let me know if it works for you. So with all that being said, let's rewind to pre-makeup time, and we're going to start off with tip number one. Tip number one is you want to make sure that you are keeping your pores on your nose area clear and cleaned out and exfoliated as often as possible. I recommend using a chemical exfoliant. I feel like personally that has helped tremendously for me. First one is Paula's Choice. This is the 25% AHA, 2% BHA. This is not only an external exfoliator, but the BHA also helps keep those pores cleaned out. The second is the Tarte Knockout. This is the tingling treatment. I hope this is still available. This is something that you can actually use almost daily. I don't feel like I need to do that. You can use it a couple times a week though, and you can even just concentrate this on your nose and the areas where you have large pores. The third one I recommend, and this is the current one that I am using the most, is the Dr. Dennis Universal Daily Peel. Again, something I only use about twice a week, but this has really helped keep my dead skin cells exfoliated and helped keep my pores clear. The second tip is moisturizer. You want to use a very light hand with your moisturizer, especially in this zone. So if you're somebody who has really dry skin, then you can keep that moisturizer primarily to the outer part of your face, but on your nose area, because that's the area we're talking about, or your chin, if the chin is the area of concern, then you want to go in with a very light hand, and the same goes for your sunscreen. You want to make sure you're not going in super heavy duty with your sunscreen. And if you're going to an evening event, obviously just skip the sunscreen. But if you're going to be out during the day and you need your sunscreen, just try to go in with a light hand or something like the K-Skin, which is not a greasy sunscreen. So you want to prevent any excess oil there. Then you want to make sure you let that totally sink into your skin for at least 20 minutes if you can. So mine has been sitting and sinking in. I have nothing else on my skin other than my skincare. So now would be the time when most people are going to apply their face primer. Well, if you're applying a face primer, go ahead and do it to the rest of your face, but do not apply it to your nose. You might be thinking, why not? Isn't a primer supposed to help grip your makeup? In theory, yes. But if you have struggled to keep makeup on your nose or your chin, you want to skip those areas and you're going to go in instead with the MAC Paint Pot. Now, I'm using soft ochre because this is the closest match to my skin tone. MAC makes several other matte skin tone shades in this. Now, this is technically a cream eyeshadow / eyeshadow primer. So don't be confused about that when you're shopping. This is not sold as a face primer or around the lips primer, as you saw in my previous video. This product I have found to have multiple uses, and the first person I ever saw talk about a fix for keeping makeup on your nose, used this, and I feel like this is still the best one. Now, if you don't have this, you could go in with your eyeshadow primer and you could try that first, but this is my top recommendation. So what we're gonna do is go in though with a light hand. I'm gonna use this fluffy brush. This is the Alter Ego 101 brush. And the key is you don't wanna apply too much product, and you just want to lightly brush this on the tip of the nose. And I'm going to actually kind of keep it out of the crevice around my nostrils there. I feel like that can collect extra product. So we're going in with this. This does have dimethicone in it. So you are going to want to look at your foundation that you're applying over the top of it and make sure it plays well with a dimethicone type product. But this, you can see I just applied a very light layer. The bonus to this also is it's providing a little bit of coverage as well. So when we go in with our foundation, we're not gonna have to glob on a bunch of foundation to help combat the redness that a lot of us have on our nose and or chin area. Now, I'm not gonna do this on my chin because I don't struggle with that, but if your chin area is your area of concern, go ahead and apply a little bit. So you can see, I mean, I really went in with a light hand, and that's why I recommend using a brush rather than your fingers, because you're gonna just get too much product with your finger and it's gonna go on in a little more patchy way. I tend to kind of struggle to get a nice clean application or even application with my finger. So I just think it's easier just to go in with a slightly fluffy brush. All right, so now that that is all on, you can see the coverage there, but the other thing that you can see is it's actually kind of filling in those pores just a little bit. So that's the other bonus to this product, is it's helping to not only combat the redness, but it is also doing a little pore filling as well. All right, now this next step is something that, as I told you at the beginning, I'm kind of combining a bunch of different people's techniques and methods into one. So this next step is something that I saw Wayne Goss do, but he actually did this twice. I'm just doing this once. So I'm going to add a little bit of setting powder. Now, it's really important that you use a setting powder, not a finishing powder. If you don't know the difference, I have a very detailed video. I'll link that down below. But an example of a finishing powder is the Makeup Forever. This is the Ultra HD Micro Finishing Loose Powder. This has silica and several ingredients that make it super slippery and make it so that anything on top of it will kind of just disappear. So this is meant to be the last step in your makeup routine, just to finish off the face and to seal out any moisture or anything. It helps prevent your makeup from creasing later. But to do something underneath your foundation, you wanna make sure you're using a powder that does not have silica in it or any silicones or dimethicone if you can find it. So as I was hunting through my powders, the Sigma setting powder does not have silica in it. It does not have dimethicone in it. It is truly a setting powder. Now I'm gonna go in with the Nikki LaRose N14 brush. This is round, it's small, it's fluffy, and it's just gonna allow me to control how much powder I go in with. So I am now going to just dust this powder on. Now I'm using the shade Vanilla Bean, and this setting powder does come in a couple of different shades as well. So this is the lightest one, I believe. All right, so you just want a light layer of that. Now we are prepped. Let's go ahead and apply our foundation. Today, I'm purposely choosing to use something that's a little lighter weight. It is the Maybelline Super Stay. This is the 24-hour skin tint. I haven't used this in a while, so I thought this would be a good one to pull out. And I'm just gonna go in with my BK Beauty 101 brush. And you notice this has a pump on it. I purchased the pump from Amazon because I don't like the dropper that bottle normally comes with. So I'm just going to lightly apply the foundation everywhere else except for my nose. And now I'm just going to press in, lightly tap in foundation on the nose. All right, so I just want to give you a glimpse here of what the foundation looks like on the rest of the face. So you can still see pores and everything here because I haven't powdered yet. But look at how perfected the nose looks. And there's no patchiness whatsoever. And I feel like this skin tint is one that can definitely be problematic. Something like that formulation can be really difficult to adhere to the nose, but because we did those prep steps the way that we did them, it is making the nose look completely flawless and covered. All right, let me finish up a few more steps of my makeup and we'll go back in for the next step. Okay, I have most of the rest of my makeup on. I used the Lawless, the Dreamy Dozen 2 eyeshadow palette and applied some contour, blush, but I have not yet powdered this part of the face. So we're gonna do that together. So for this, because I am more of a combination oily girl, for my setting powder on the rest of my face, I'm going in with the Honest Beauty Invisible Blurring Powder. If you're not super oily, you could go back to that Sigma powder and that should be enough of a setting powder for you. But for me, because I get oily right through the T-zone, this is a better powder for me. So I'm gonna go in with the Invisible Blur and I'm using a flat powder puff for this. And I'm going to just go ahead and start pressing the powder in like I normally would on the rest of my face. And I did already powder my forehead, so I don't have to do that. I always powder my forehead before I do my brows, so that was why I did that. Okay, so I've powdered, but I have not powdered my nose, and I just want you to take a look at how flawless still the nose looks even before a final set of powder. So now let's go ahead and we are going to do a final bit of powdering on the nose. Again, still using the powder puff. I think this is a little better than a brush because sometimes a brush can still stir up the makeup. So we want to make sure we lock everything in. So I'm just going to press very lightly over the nose. Now, I don't know if you can tell, but I did not apply my cream contour to my nose. So if you struggle keeping makeup and foundation on your nose, the next tip is you want to make sure that everything you use on your nose, except for your foundation, which you could use a powder foundation, but other than that, you want to make sure that everything else that goes on top is a powder formula, because I think that helps further ensure that nothing else is going to move. If you have too many layers of cream products, especially on your nose or your chin, I just think that is problematic. So I'm just gonna go in real quickly. I just have this on my desk. It's the Hourglass Ambient Lighting Palette. And I'm gonna go in with this shade and the Nikki LaRose N16 brush. And I'm just gonna add a little bit of contour here on the nose. Now, the final thing that I would say is skip any highlighter on the bridge of your nose, because I think sometimes that can make your nose makeup look a little splotchy if it's struggling to begin with. So skip the highlighter on the bridge of the nose. I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit to the tops of the cheeks, just using that same palette. Now the final step for the face, obviously I've not finished my lips because I'm filming another video about that. So for this part of the video, I'm just going to finish off the face and I am going to use a little bit of a setting spray. In my opinion, There are two setting sprays that I own that I really feel like do make a difference in how your makeup lasts throughout the day as a whole. And especially for this instance, if you're struggling through the T-zone, you don't have to apply setting spray to your entire face, which is what I'm going to do today. I'm just going to apply a little bit of setting spray to the center of the face. These two are the longest lasting setting sprays that actually make a difference and that do not add any moisture to your face. They also do not change the finish of your foundation. So that's something that's really important because most setting sprays, if you look at the ingredients, they have glycerin or some other kind of hydrating property. And that is not what you want to put on the center of your face, especially if you're struggling with your makeup slipping and sliding. So you could use a different setting spray on the sides of your cheeks, but down the center of the nose, I would recommend one of these two. I'm going to use this one today because I think this is most like hairspray. I've talked about that before. So I'm going to just spray this down the center of my face here. And there you can see it did not make my face look glowy or wet or anything. It didn't change anything about that, but I feel like it just further locked everything in place. Okay, so I added my lip color. I did that in a separate video, which if you've not seen the video about how to keep your lip color from feathering and bleeding and also how to make your lip color last longer, check out that video. I'll link it down below and up here in the corner. But now here is the finished look. And I just wanted to give you an up close of the center of the face, the nose. So what's crazy about this technique is not only is it going to help prevent things from just melting off your nose, but it also just helps give you a really nice, even coverage on your nose or your chin, and it is going to stay in place all throughout the day. Now I'm going to insert here a clip at the end of the day of what my nose looked like, and hopefully you'll be able to see how well everything has stayed in place throughout the day. Okay, this is the 7.5 hour mark. And I did have some reading glasses on, so that's the little bit of indentation you're seeing there, but the tip of the nose, everything is still intact. So I hope that you found this video helpful. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up. That really does help my channel out. Check the description box down below for links and a list of everything that I used today, and I'll see you next time. Bye.